everyone, and welcome to the first Rejuve Town Hall. This is just a catch up as to where we are, and kind of I was just hoping to get some feedback on the app. I've already seen that we've got lots of it coming in through the bug reporting tools and our feedback form on the actual beta, which is super cool. We've had a lot of positive responses and some interesting suggestions, some of which are kind of already planned in like an extended roadmap, the ones that are newer. So yeah, hopefully we'll get to discuss those a bit more. Can all
All
see
right,
my
so
screen?
for folks who are unfamiliar with the Discord event, to watch Jasmine's screen, you actually need to click on that watch stream screen to actually see that. So yeah, you can see it. Looks good.
Cool. So I guess the discussion topics were like, what do you expect from the app, and how close is it at this time to meeting those expectations? And go over some plan changes, additions, and enhancements that are already there, because some of the things that we're seeing are requested are actually our plan, but they just take a bit of time to roll out in succession. And then there's a few special topics about collecting lab test data that I've seen people mention. So that's the other subject.
Oh,
So you could say, what do you expect from the longevity app? So yeah, we've kind of we have communicated a lot about different tweets and social media blurbs, but I guess I was just wondering, is the community expecting as far as what this app should be able to do, or what they're expecting it to do when they download it? So that was kind of my first kind of open question. If anyone wanted to give any.
I like that there's the biological age measurement that's prominent up front, right? That's nice to see how that changes or alters. Um, and I like the insights that are provided. Just some of them get confusing. They're worded in a way that's like, you don't have evidence of this thing that it is like highlighting. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do about this thing that I don't have evidence of? Or, your social stuff, make sure you have lots of friends and connections so that and it's like, well, there's no place in the app for me to indicate that I do. So how do I, there's a couple little things that are missing tracking that, but in general, the suggestions and the feedback and the research stuff is cool to see how it's looking at all those markers and stuff that are in there. I like that a lot.
Cool. Is there anything that's not there at the moment that you think that should be in order to, I guess, optimally track longevity?
I think for me, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to. I'm very into the blood glucose monitoring aspect of health and longevity. So I assume that will come in its time. Hook-ins to monitors and such.
Yeah, lots of different health trackers and wearables to be connected for sure.
When
Any
is
other? Can't really. Yeah, I can't
the
see
Garmin?
everyone.
When is the Garmin and Aura connection supposed to go live? Is there a timeline for that?
We're currently working on them now, so we can say probably within a few weeks.
Oh, okay. So they're already like in testing, in testnet or something?
Yeah, we're pretty much. We have our dev builds that we test before we release into beta community. So yeah, we kind of just integrate all of that stuff and test it and connect our devices. I think Debbie has all of them. I have the Apple and the Garmin. Someone just
What's the
joined.
distinction? What's the distinction between what kind of data can be captured between the devices?
Well, each one kind of has its own set of data points that it collects. Like um, most of it, like there is a lot of overlap there. Like every device these days collects steps, heart rate. Um, most of them are doing sleep, and then different metrics in between, like heart rate variability, maybe the way that you're walking, like double step support. That's a little bit more advanced. Oh yeah, the SpO2. That's another common one a lot of people are doing. The oxygenation. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, exercise sessions, so you can track actual workouts that you're doing, or even just physical activity. Like it can kind of track, if your heart rate was kind of elevated for this amount of time. It's assuming you're exercising or walking or running, and it's usually pretty accurate. And you're resting heart rate because it's important for health as well.
So is it pulling those exercise sessions in the case of Fitbit then?
You said, is it collecting them or?
The exercise sessions, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on what model that you have, because it seems
Right,
that
right.
yeah, like when you buy the more kind of expensive devices, it has more data points, and then
Right.
I
Okay.
think
So I don't think my weight is coming through from Fitbit. I think the sleep data is. I don't think the body weight is though. But that's something I just enter into Fitbit. I'd have to enter that in the Rejuve as well, right?
oh yeah, I think because right now that the biometrics profile, it's only pulling health kit. So yeah, we have to.
Okay, gotcha.
That probably won't be a manual entry if we don't have the health kit at the moment.
Okay.
And then there's,
Oh,
sometimes you can actually, if you have an iPhone, the Fitbit data gets put into health kits, so that makes it even more
right,
complex.
right. They're like all three of them would be synced together, right? Like Rejuve, Fitbit, and Apple Health, right?
Yeah, that's like actually something we're working on right now, is like kind of distinguishing between different devices, so it's not doubling and tripling for people that do have more than one.
Now, Fitbit does a VO2 calculation based on my exercise data. Does Rejuve do anything like that, or can it pull VO2 from Fitbit? I don't know.
VO2, is that separate from the regular oxygenation that's like in
It's
your?
kind of your cardiovascular health. It based on like how fast you can run miles and stuff like that.
It doesn't pull it right now, but that's
Okay.
something that we're looking into do soon.
Okay, yeah. Fitbit does the calculation. I don't know if it's available through their API though, but you could probably reproduce it fairly easily.
Yeah, I think the Garmin Band 2 has that. I haven't used it yet because I think I have to kind of go for a run for it to calibrate or something. But yeah,
Sure,
that's
sure.
an interesting one.
And then the other two, like I think this is probably a ways off maybe, but genetic data, whether it was from 23andMe or Ancestry, and I know it's not the full genome, I know it's just select parts. Is that something planned or
Yeah, actually, it is. Uh,
okay?
it's actually
And the other one's a
very.
little bit tougher is electronic health record integration. And since this is an international app, that makes it like really, really complicated. So,
Yeah, that's sort of why we're trying to build this as one itself, so that it's easier to sync. Like you have all
right.
of the required data that's in one.
But like I haven't gone through and put in all my blood testing stuff, but if I could just pull that straight from Epic, that would be a ton easier, you know.
It's a
Does that
reasonable question,
does
right?
that have an app?
When are we going to integrate supplement tracking?
Epic? Yeah, Epic has their own app. Yeah, but you can also interface to Epic too. They've got APIs.
Interesting. All right.
And that's the biggest EHR for the US, but then, that doesn't help your European customers
Right.
or anything else.
So that's you mentioned the genomic data. That's actually a really important one coming up pretty soon. But yeah, that is definitely a plan and to get that in, and also epigenomic data as well. As far as the processing of it, that would kind of take a bit longer. Wouldn't be kind of an instantaneous click of a button, but we would be able to, offer the tokens and kind of, give more insights and reports later.
Yeah, even if you just started collecting the data, I don't know what kind of AI and ML you would run against it or whatever, but just getting the data is like the first step, right?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, well, like you were mentioning, the amount of that it collects, like, yeah, the 23andMe and those ones are kind of more limited set, but we are looking at offering some providers of whole genome as well.
Yeah, and I would imagine the cost of those will come down as time passes too, to get the full genome. Right now they're pretty expensive, I think.
Yeah, they're going between like 400 and 600. I've seen. Yeah, I guess we can some more of these. So the daily collection module, right now we just kind of have a basic 7-question survey that's kind of at the top of the rest. So we want to make that a little bit more interactive, like kind of reminding you every day, like, oh, did you log this information? And it's kind of meant to be an analog of the wearables, because like not everybody's going to have a smartwatch or wearable tracking device connected right away. So we have these kind of daily collection modules to track, the most essential data per day to kind of make a running trend of your overall health. And also the nutrition module. That's another one right now. We kind of just have this list of different nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals. What we want to do is basically be able to have like a food database API connected where you can type in exactly what it was and it abstracts all of that information from it, or even being able to scan a barcode to collect that information so that it's really accurate. And because I know very few people are actually just writing down on the back of every nutrition label that they eat. And there also are some other apps I know that collect this data as well, like MyPlate and different ones that you can enter in your food data and put it in there, so that can be collected if you have that in HealthKit already.
Yeah, MyFitnessPal also has that the bar scanner, like you said. It scans the back of the package and automatically enters the carbohydrates and macronutrient breakdown.
Okay, did you sync that with the HealthKit? Like, did it populate into questions?
No, I haven't tried that yet. I didn't think of that, but that's a good idea.
Cool. Yeah, so that's how it should work. If anything's already in HealthKit, it should just pull it directly from there. But I guess if you don't want to, and is that a free or is that paid subscription to that app to be able to do that?
It has both. It has a free piece, and then also you can kind of upgrade for more particulars. But yeah, so it has both.
Were you saying that do we know if that does pull in nutritional data to Rejuve yet, or would it be a manual entering?
Pretty much anything that's in HealthKit should, auto sync when you sync your device. So if it's not in there, then yeah, it's not connected yet. But cool. That's why we want to kind of have our own as well. Yeah, like if people have it in another in their wearable device and it can move over smoothly. Yeah, while we're on wearables, I've noticed that people were mentioning a lot about Samsung watches and maybe Wear OS. So trying to get a picture of how to integrate the most amount of wearables sync data without maybe having so many individual connections, because there's endless list of different devices. There's an analog on Google maybe that's similar to HealthKit. Does anyone know about that? Yeah, like I saw that majority of our users
I kind of
actually,
think that's why they bought Fitbit. Is I think they're going to just use Fitbit for that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because I noticed that like the majority, I think it was like 80% Android users, which was surprising. I thought it would be more 50-50, but it seems like most people are just having regular Android versus Apple devices. So yeah, that makes it a bit more. Maybe we needed something more there for the Android users to be able to more easily sync data instead of buying a Fitbit or another device if you don't already have one. If you have something else like the Mi Band, I saw those. That's like a more budget option. So yeah, I'm wondering if there's any analog health kit on the Android side.
Looks like we had a couple questions in the text chat. When will supplement tracking be implemented?
But yeah, so we have that one medication and supplement logging. We're hoping to put that in before the public launch. So basically, when the app is actually available in the app stores, we want to have that there to be able to put in your any medications that you normally take and any supplements that you're taking. As for insights and recommendations on them, that'll probably happen a bit slower, but maybe we can have a few already in there, like things. There's certain both supplements and meds where there's a lot of already scientific data about how it affects different aspects of your health. So the ones that are kind of low-hanging fruits will probably make it in there sooner.
Cool. And then, is there a roadmap for what's coming to the app? Is there a space to go see what's upcoming?
Not at the moment, but we can it'll be something that we'll put soon.
Cool.
What we have now is our Jira board, but that's a little bit more not as exciting, but we can probably put it in a format that's a bit more understandable and delineated for what's actually planned to happen.
Is the Jira board public?
Not currently. Yeah, pretty much everything on this list and more is what's on it.
Forgive me for asking a silly question here, but will the AI get fed or trained up on research and studies that are coming out? So, such for example, like I think I sent you a link, Azali, on the Beat Death thing on Telegram, so that a lot of that research and studies that are coming out, will the AI be able to sift through that data and learn from the research that's being produced there?
Yes, we have an AI that uses other people's studies. So we have two aspects of it. One that uses other people's studies and puts it into our own AI, and another that does machine learning on raw data. So that will be interesting. I'll look at your link.
Yeah, that channel's actually has a lot of like that more cutting edge research. That is an interesting one of how to best incorporate it, because there's new stuff coming out pretty much every day.
Yay! The field is blowing up. Deb, just from your research and looking at the research to put into the app to provide advice and recommendations on what's kind of the most exciting thing you see in longevity research right now, supplements or lifestyle or
I think one of the most exciting things is the work on genetic switches and how it may be true that that aging is controlled by a genetic switch, and the implications of that is it's a lot easier for us to fix it. So if there's just one switch that's controlling everything instead of a degradation of everything separately, we have a lot more chance of fixing it within our lifetime.
It seems so probable too, with the way that they keep finding that drugs meant for other diseases of aging, cancer drugs and rapamycin, are having profound effects on aging accidentally. It's like when we treat this disease that we thought was just a disease, suddenly the age thing changes as well. That's exciting.
It really is.
Yeah. So while we're on AI, so Debbie, did you want to talk about how the VEI is going to kind of change the insights and recommendations and nature of everything?
Sure. Well, right now we have a Bayesian network in there, and it's a crowdsourced Bayesian network. That means people's causal models, plus their studies, their meta-analysis and systematic reviews, can all go into this Bayesian network, and it can have the existing state of the art in there. But we have another aspect, the variational autoencoder, and then we have that hooked up to modular transformers. And this neural net right now is set on age estimation. But in the future, it will be an essential part of creating a multi-resolutional simulation of the human body. So each neural network will adapt to the others and to the data and differentiate itself into parts of the human body. So I think that's a very exciting part of the research as well.
Cool.
Just really quick on the back on the supplement side. Are there any supplements that you guys take? Like I take NMN. I've been following Dr. David Sinclair, which I'm pretty sure everybody here is probably aware of his work. So yeah, I take NMN and resveratrol and some TMG. So I don't know if you guys have others that you all take or.
I really like black seed oil. My sativa, that's a good one. Big fan of spirulina and chlorella. Yeah, I like lots of them, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to see, how it's actually tracking as far as physiologically, because with certain things you kind of have to take them for months before you realize, like, it's one of those things you hope that, oh yeah, this is restoring my cells and doing this stuff, but I really don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, I hear that. And also, do you all implement like any like fasting protocol? Because I've heard fasting being correlated with longevity.
Yeah, it does seem that there's lots of evidence that way, although a lot of it was done on mostly mice. But it just makes sense that if you're having a kind of calorie restriction, that your body's going through less wear and tear, therefore you live longer. Not on any type of strict one at the moment. I mean, kind of calorie restriction, but that's also related to weight loss as well. So yeah, I haven't really deeply gotten into any particular ones yet.
Yeah. So like you said, the calorie restriction, because you're not using the system as much, it's less wear and tear, but also it's supposed to speed up autophagy, like the recycling of the cells in the body, and making new cells from that. So there's a couple ways in which that helps. And the thing that I've noticed is that at certain intervals of the fast, at certain time periods, depending on how long you're fasting, you get different benefits depending on the length of the fast. So a 14-hour fast wouldn't be the same as, say, a 72-hour fast. There'll be additional benefits typically as you fast for longer.
Yes, that's, I guess, going into one of our other features, which we really hope this becomes a main use, is to actually run our own studies and trials. So, have a certain prescribed fasting plan or diet or supplement regimen or anything of that nature, and actually be able to have a scientifically set up study to be able to see exactly what it does and be able to publish these in academic journals.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned before something about creating NFTs in this space, or could you talk a little bit about that? So just for just some context, for the last 10 plus years, I've been a certified personal trainer and certified sports nutritionist, and I make meal plans for a living online, etc. So if I wanted to take I have these customized formulas, proprietary formulas that I use for like calculating calories and macronutrients, etc. And how would I be able to like integrate that into the system in some way, maybe as an NFT or etc.?
Actually, our plan for NFTs is it's more about data ownership. That's a lot to do with the tokenomic model. So the NFTs are basically it's tracking how much that your data or efforts that were put into the overall Rejuve network contributed to an end product. So let's say we discover a new drug or something like that, then the NFT would be tracing a certain percentage of how much you contributed to it, and then you receive that many.
Right,
Oh, okay.
right. But his plans could become a product, right? And
Right.
the data he contributes from his plans is important in aggregating data. And so I believe that he could get a data NFT and a product NFT out of his plans. And if he starts to sell them, then he will get the proceeds from that, as well as the people who contributed data to his nutrition.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fun. I didn't write on here was tokenomics, just because it's a bit uncertain exactly when the token's going live due to the market conditions. But yeah, that's a whole another aspect as well. Here.
It'd be cool too if personal trainers such as yourself could actually, onboard clients to Rejuve so that you could get information on their personal health and actually help, customize and personalize their meal plan, their training plan, their, longevity plan even more by the data that can be gathered there. That would be very cool.
Yeah,
Use
that
case
would.
for.
I didn't think about that. That'd be awesome, actually. I guess once we're out of the closed beta phase, then we're more open up, I guess, to the public. Then that'll probably be a great way to a great avenue is reaching out through the fitness community and spreading it that way.
Yeah, and also even listing in our store if there is like certain services or products that you're like providing, they can be listed in our shop. So that's another way as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's another one too, is the rewards area. So to be able to redeem your earned tokens to get different products such as wearables, supplements, lab tests, genomic tests, and just various different, and even consultations, anything that's kind of improving health and longevity, and also specifically things that you can use to input more data and have a more complete profile in the app. So that'll be what this applies, and for the items that are offered in the shop will be focused around. And so yeah, being that we have so many planned features, we will have kind of a premium subscription as well, but we're still going to have a lot available for free on there, as you can see now. So, and it's not even complete yet, but yeah, we will have kind of another tier to get more in detailed insights and more features. And so I guess any more questions about any of these or things that we just mentioned or discussed? Right. So yeah, then the last thing was the lab test data collection challenges. So there was a few comments I read about basically being able to get these tests done in other countries, like as far as languages. Now, I think that the test metrics themselves should be the same, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do modern medicine, I don't think. But maybe the words themselves are different. Like, let's say an AST, like the liver test. I don't see how that can be called anything else, unless maybe it's just literally like the language just writes the word differently, like how in English and Spanish there's a different spelling, or like from French to so if anyone has any insights on the understandability or translation of the actual biomarkers that are being tested for, blood tests particularly.
It's a great question. It'd be great to get some ambassadors from various locations to see if they can track down that medically accurate information, and at least have a reference location like on Rejuve's app, in other languages, these data points, so that at least individuals could go in and find what tests they want from their provider and have the language to be able to communicate that.
And can I ask you guys this? Is it standard across even American language, right? Are those abbreviations standard? Because, I put in some of mine and I had a lot of them, but there was some where I was like, okay, this doesn't look like anything that I have in my paperwork. So I just kind of left it blank. So I didn't know if there was another, if it meant the same thing, if there's another, just depending on the hospital or lab you go to, is it different, or is it, is this a standard across the industry or medical industry?
I guess it would depend. So we'd have to look at a bunch of different tests and just see. But I think the units, like we do have, you've probably seen like different dual units, because there are international ones and then kind of imperial or American ones, and we try to include both of them where applicable, or just kind of pick the most commonly reported unit there. But as for the actual names of the tests, like that's thing that I don't see how it can be. Maybe people do call it differently. Like, let's say a glucose test, they might say fasting glucose, or maybe something a little different.
There were a few uncommon ones in there. There are a few uncommon ones in there from the enhanced study.
In our one, there were a few. I think I would just think that it would be I just feel like, let's say if you're in Germany or something, and you're like, how would we be able to all collaborate on and do medicine if we were all measuring different things? So maybe it's just a matter of naming or something. So that's something that I'd like to get more insights on. So even if this is being recorded, if anybody, like, I know we have a really big Portuguese community in SNet. If you had some kind of sample of a lab report from there, it can redact, of course, all your personal name and account numbers and all that sort of stuff. But it'd be really interesting, because on images like Google Images and all that sort of stuff, it doesn't exactly come up. So it would be good to see how these lab reports look in various nations in the world. And so the other part is the actual provability of the results as it regards to token rewards and research purposes. So right now it's more of just like a personal, like, of course we'll have it so that you can put in your own results. But in order to actually consider them in the sense of, being able to give rewards and consider this legitimate medical data to write papers on and whatnot, we have to be able to confirm that it's actually a real lab report, because it's easy enough to just type in numbers that are within the ranges, and there you go, I'm claiming hundreds of tokens now. So that's a bit of a challenge at the moment. So the availability of these tests and testing sites, because it seems that like, for instance, Quest Diagnostics, I think they do have some international locations, but mostly how these work is you go to your local facility. Like, it might be some big lab corporation, but then they have different individual sites that you do. There's not really a lot of home blood tests that I've seen. There are a few, which were really interesting. Like, you can just kind of prick your finger and it can tell you things. I've seen them for more niche areas, like actually longevity tests. Not a whole lot of them, though. But as far as all the general, more everyday lab values, it seems like you still do actually have to go somewhere. Or some of them actually, I've seen mobile ones too, especially now after the pandemic, where they kind of bring the van there and they can do it that way. But it just means that we'll have to kind of network with a lot of different providers in order to make sure that everyone can get access to correct values and be able to enter them in for a reward, and that no one's getting cheated. Because if we just assume that everything is true, of course, we don't know who's telling the truth and who's not. So, any comments or insights there?
Well, I mean, I think that people, putting in false information, it's just, it's going to affect their health outcomes, right? They're not doing themselves any service by doing that. And I think that once we get a massive amount of data coming in, the AI should be able to pick off outliers like that and, kind of see what is not true based on the rest of the network on what is typically true and what typically works. So I think that it'll eventually figure itself out with more data input. So yeah, that would be my insight on it.
Yeah, that's something kind of we're already planning, is to be able to use the AI to filter out things that are obviously not making sense with the rest. But I'm thinking more so, if you just put everything's normal and now I've earned a reward, so that's kind of the issue there. We also, but the thing is, we don't want to always keep that amount small just because of that. We want to be able to actually compensate appropriately for the value of the data that was collected.
Yeah, there may need to be some kind of an identity integration for that, just so we don't have like tons of bots coming in, filling out these forms to earn rewards. So there's lots of blockchain identity solutions that might help with this as well.
Well, yeah, that's another the thing that's going to be part of it as far as the data NFT is the identity verification step, just so that there's only one profile per user, so that basically no one should have multiple accounts that are earning credits pretty much.
And I was just going to say really quick, me as being a trainer for over 10 years, that's been one of the issues I've had, is people reporting back accurately on what they ate the night before. I'm following the program, everything, I'm doing everything. I don't know why I'm not losing any weight, so, if we could figure out a way to, make people honest and true in that regard, I'd love to hear that, but one of the best ways I have found is to, that piece of information I just revealed, as far as letting them know that, it's only really doing yourself a disservice. So honesty is the best policy, and that's helped a little bit, but yeah, it's a tough one to crack.
So you do find that even like they're actually saying I have done it, and they're saying why isn't it working, even though they know they're not doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's been a pretty staple issue for the last decade that I've been doing this. And, eventually I find out, either I happen to go to a restaurant or something and I see them out there, because we live in the same, or somebody else, or they post something on social media because they're friends with me, and I see them, oh, that's a beer cup in your hand, so it leaks out eventually, and then finally they'll come true and say, oh yeah, I hadn't been following it exactly, and then it all comes out. So there's a decade's worth of data for you right there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm hoping that people that are making or going out of their way to download an app like this and be interested in this field, that they would be inclined to tell the truth anyways. I think it's more just like the token aspect of it. I think that there's a lot of opportunists and whatnot, and if there's a way that people can figure out, I can earn a little bit of crypto by providing this stuff, they'll find ways. But on a personal health level, that's very true. If you fill out wrong information and the insights are not relevant, then I guess the app's not really doing anything for you. So that would be disincentivizing within itself to do that.
Correct. I wanted to ask you, do you have any projections for when we'll achieve longevity escape velocity?
Do you mean as far as kind of escaping the established, I guess, maximum of?
Yeah,
lifespan.
so basically, for every year that you live, you will be able to add 1 year of life. So essentially, at that point, you'll be essentially immortal, because if you were initially destined to die at 80, but then you live a year and then you're able to add a year, you now are at 81, and then you live another year. Now it's
The idea being that uh, there's two ways to approach the problem of aging. One is, solve the problem of aging. The other is increment every individual thing that can cause you to age, so that you live long enough to get the newest scientific advances. And so I don't really have a new estimate of that, but I think from looking at the advances, just recently in the past 10 years, it seems like it's pretty soon.
Yeah, I looked at some work from I think it was Ray Kurzweil or Peter Diamandis. One, maybe it was a joint thing that they did, but the timeline says 2030 for longevity, escape velocity. This is for the rich, and then 2036 is when I think they say like more like insurance companies and stuff will start to be able to allow other people to reach that. So yeah, it'll be pretty soon, next 15 years or so, according to those projections.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. As far as you mentioned for the rich, that's kind of one of the pillars of Rejuve too, is being able to make such things available more widely to people that aren't necessarily rich, and just for being a part of our network and contributing. So, something that realizes.
Awesome.
2030. I mean, that's pretty soon. That's 8 years. I mean, technology is advancing pretty quickly, though. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Any other topics or things that anyone was wondering about the app or Rejuve's overall plans and goals? Everyone that's watching will you can add to the conversation as well. You can join our Telegram group and kind of ask questions there. The Discord channel, it's the SNet Discord channel, but Rejuve has its own section there, so you can write there as well. And we also have our more traditional methods like emailing. If let's say you're a medical professional and you want to be more involved or give advice or anything, we can we do read those. We look at all the different communication feedback that's coming through.
Do you all have any plans on I guess partnering with any labs? Because we talked about earlier about how self-reporting can be a hazard or very inaccurate. Do you all plan on partnering with any like people that do like clinical stuff, like it's so it's a controlled environment, like exactly what's going on, and getting information that way?
I guess that's kind of this one. What I'm thinking is we'll have to have them go and get the test at this particular lab that we're in partnership with or working with, and if they're doing it that way, they should be able to upload it via some kind of barcode, or like it'll be able to prove that they really did go to this place and get on the net.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if they had some inpatient studies where they had to stay at this lab for 6 weeks, say, right, and do some study, like maybe Rejuve could promote, like if you need that information, you could promote or maybe even incentivize participating in a study, and maybe there's some bridge there that could happen.
Like those longer ones, like sleep studies and things like that, where they're just kind of in a little place for a long time. Yeah, that's definitely an option.
Yep, because not only could the lab, be able to get more data by having more patients, but if Rejuve is kind of promoting it on the lab's behalf and on Rejuve's behalf, so that they can gather information from it as well. That could be pretty interesting. Because I hear studies all the time, but I'm like, how do I participate? I don't know. I would love to do some of these studies, but I don't never know about it. So if there was a way that somebody, promoted or provide a way that I can become part of it, and they can get and if it was Rejuve and they could get the information, the data off of it as well, then I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that's what ties into making our own studies as well. Debbie.
Yes, clinical trials are scheduled to be on the app in the next couple of quarters. So, at that point, we'll be able to, take the current baselines we have and see how people have changed off of their baselines when given different treatments that they want to test themselves with. So that will definitely be part of the app in the next 6 months.
Yeah, like pretty much anyone that has an interest in kind of constructing one, we can sort of co-create the studies, which is kind of the ultimate goal. I mean, yeah, sure, we can work with ones that are already there and doing their thing, but even better is to actually kind of create our own with them.
I guess I don't know, since nobody else said anything. How is Rejuve gonna be synergistic with, say, Grace, the robot? Is there going to be some synergy there? I'm sure from the Singularity net level, I guess.
Well, Grace and Rejuve share one thing in common: the bioatom space. Underneath Grace's cognition is OpenCog, and that is also underneath Rejuve. And so we're sharing data across those. So yes, there will be synergy in what Grace is able to know and what we find from our studies as well.
It's a great idea too. I mean, Grace, I think part of Grace's roadmap is creating a virtual version of her, a virtual avatar, something that instead of the full robot, something that can be on the laptop but has her medical knowledge and some of her chat and interaction skills. And she'd be a great coach from within Rejuve, give you your insights personally and maybe offer some meditation. And that would be a very, very interesting integration right there.
Yeah, there's been some discussions, particularly about avatars. Like that's a big link between the two projects as well. And I mean, of course, they're probably gathering lots of data from people that are a bit older, so that's also helping in longevity research, of course.
Are there any plans for Rejuve to create its own wearables in the future, activity or glucose monitoring, or anything like that?
It's an interesting idea, actually manufacturing our own devices to collect stuff specifically for us. It's definitely a cool idea. I mean, it's not one that we've explored deeply yet because the aspects of hardware manufacturing and all of that. We're kind of right now ideating on ways to basically utilize the devices that are already there and be able to, use them as biofeedback via notifications or something, like syncing with them to be able to kind of give you more real-time updates about what you should be doing or maybe not doing at the moment. So that's kind of more the direction we were looking in versus actually making new ones.
One thing is that you can think of combining devices as a device. That's what we do.
Right. Syncing data from multiple sources to give a more whole picture.
Yeah, I was about to say we need like some sort of like waste analyzer. Like this is how I see it. In 2035, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, your toilet analyzes your waste and tells you what vitamins and minerals you're lacking, it talks to your refrigerator it talks to your kitchen rather, and tells you what you're lacking. Your kitchen whips up a meal automatically, including all the stuff that you're lacking, in a tasty meal, by the way. And by the time you get downstairs, your meal's already prepared, and you're on your way to health.
That's a smart house right there.
I love it.
Yeah, you said the waste thing. That does remind me of an interesting conversation I had with Ben one time. I guess there is already sort of stuff like that that's in toilets. I think it's China or something like that, where they can analyze certain things. So
Makes sense. Hormones and gut bacteria. And I mean, it seems like there's a major push to analyze gut bacteria right now
yeah,
in conjunction with longevity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get a steady stream of data, right? Like literally.
yeah, I'm super interested in the gut brain connection and microbiome. It's a really interesting subject and probably very important for longevity overall. Well, thanks everyone for attending and for the interesting conversations and discussions and suggestions.